France take on Morocco in one of the semi-finals of this World Cup. One side that we all sort of expected to get there was France, and the other, Morocco. We've done an entire conversation about Morocco's defence and the wonderful fans and the fact that I call this. But for this particular game, Kylian Mbappe, is he going to be the first player that scores against this Morocco defence? Because they've actually only conceded one goal, which was an own goal.
I think it's going to be very interesting. We talked a little bit about how England tried to deal with Kylian Mbappe, Kyle Walker and Jordan Henderson sort of doubling up on him, and he didn't really have much in the quarter-final game. But then what we've also spoken about as well, it also opens the back door for Olivier Giroud on the other. If Griezmann's delivering the crosses that he was doing in the quarter-final, there's going to be some trouble. So I think you can stop one problem, but you're almost opening up another one. So with this Moroccan defence, I think it's going to be... I mean, we could be talking extra time penalties in this one.
You're talking about that side where Mbappe plays, he's going to come up 1v1 against Hakimi. There, Rafael Leao's played out there, Eden Hazard, Dani Olmo, Alphonso Davies, Ivan Perisic. That's quite a list of players that Hakimi's managed to stop, and probably hasn't had enough of a mention, really, in the sense that he's come up against some of the best wingers out there. Yeah. Some has-beens. I know you're looking at me about Eden Hazard.
Well, I think that's a good list if I'm doing my FIFA Ultimate Team. But like Rafael Leao's coming off the bench, Eden Hazard's absolutely washed, Dani Olmo was okay, and Alphonso Davies was part of that Canada side that were good, but they weren't great. So it's a good list, but it's not my favourite list of all time.
It's
a hater in the room. I throw Mbappe on there, you'll still say, it's a bit of a
I'll take Mbappe.
Well, Hakimi he's having a good tournament. There's no doubt about it. And that battle, anywhere Mbappe is on the pitch or anybody's up against, you're going to be looking at that key battle. But if you look at the other side, in terms of Dembele versus Mazraoui, if he's fit, Mazraoui by trade is actually a right back. He's not an actual left back. So that's where they can maybe get a little bit of joy down the side of Ousmane Dembele against a man who's not playing in his actual position if he is fit. You just think that it's going to be one of these games where France have all of the ball, and if they score an early goal, then it could be trouble for Morocco. But if they manage to do what they've done in the previous 4 or 5 games and just batten down the hatches and attack when they can, and make France think about going the other way as well at points, not just literally sitting in the low block, but maybe a little bit more of a mid block, and then offering a bit more of an attacking threat, they could be in with a chance of this one. The best chance probably taking it to extra time though. I
think what we saw from the England quarterfinals, I'll be getting it up on Meccano because he was like a walking red card for some reason. I don't know if he wants to be in Qatar or what he was thinking, but I think with Varane beside him, he sort of maybe just ushered out that game. But I really think that's an area of weakness that Morocco can exploit.
I think that was an interesting situation for Meccano got himself in. He was sort of just like following Kane around everywhere, and it just left holes behind him. And then when Kane actually came to the ball, it just went through him like nearly every other time. So that definitely is an area I think where Morocco will go. En-Nesyri, he only plays 65 minutes typically, but go 1v1 against him and just cause him havoc. Because the great thing about En-Nesyri is he's actually one of these forwards that just goes, I want to lean on my defender. I'm not that interested in actually winning flick-ons. I'm just going to lean on you. I'm going to be a bit of a pest. And I think the referees, to be fair, which hasn't been great post-group stages, the referee's probably going, keep an eye on him, because Meccano might be in trouble. Another area is obviously Sofiane Amrabat, who's probably been one of the standout players this tournament. I think every team in England and Europe is linked to him right now. Apparently, Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool had a conversation with him 6 weeks before the World Cup, so he was ahead of the curve. But he'll go up against Griezmann, has probably been the best player this tournament, I think.
Yeah, he has been. I just love Liverpool's meddling in this World Cup, just talking to everybody, just getting deals done.
So many secret agents.
There's so many secret agents about. But yeah, Amrabat is... It's so interesting because when you say Amrabat, you think about his older brother, and and the fact that he's kind of shaved his hair as well now. And anybody who shaves their hair but has capabilities to grow a full head of hair, they're a dangerous player.
He's stolen that off my Twitter. Disgraceful.
I've got a source somewhere. Yeah, and he is amazing, and he's been there like fulcrum in this tournament. His ability to get around the pitch and cover every blade of grass and. I picked the battle between him and João Felix to be the one that would win it in that game. It wasn't really that case because João Felix was dropping off into different positions. But I think in this game against France, he will directly be up against Antoine Griezmann. It is who wins that battle. And judging by what we've seen, it's going to be a very, very close battle, despite the fact that Griezmann probably has been one of the best players in this tournament.
I think a lot of these quarterfinals are coming down to like really specific moments. And Antoine Griezmann is one of those guys that we saw like in the quarterfinal that can just whip one of the balls of the centuries out and plonk it straight on Giroud's head. So Amrabat could be perfect for 89 minutes, but Griezmann's got it in him just to play the ball to Mbappe perfectly or get the right cross into Giroud. So that's where I think France would just have it just in those moments, because they've been there and done it, and Griezmann is cooking at the moment.
He's created 6 big chances this tournament, only got 3 assists, but as you said, I think it's that quality, that final little bit of quality where you do worry a little bit for Morocco, but people have probably said this entire tournament. Like, they've come up against Portugal. Bruno Fernandes had a final bit of quality. It came off the crossbar. Like, if the luck's going your way, it can go your way. You touched on Ousmane Dembele against Mazraoui if he's fit. I think this is an interesting area because Ousmane Dembele came up against Shaw, and he had 4 or 5 moments where he was asleep. Like, the ball came over Shaw, and he was kind of like, he was sort of like dawdling around, and he has a habit of doing that where he can switch off. Defensively, he's not great, and Mazraoui does like to get forward. Could this be one of those where they try and flip the script and go, we'll push our fullback on a tiny bit in situations where we have the ball and see if Dembele fancies doing the running?
I would love to see it because that would give him a chance of getting out, but I just can't. Dembele poses such a threat, and he's dangerous on his day when he's on it, that I don't think Mazraoui, if he is fit, will be pushing ahead. But they're coming up against a side, this is Morocco, they're coming up against a side of France that I've just got supreme confidence. They are, I think in their minds, they know they're the best team in this tournament, and if everybody was fit, they'd be walking it. They've got five of their starters, potential starters, missing, in Karim Benzema, in Kimpembe, in Paul Pogba, in N'Golo Kante.
Making last night feel really bad now.
No, but it's true. This team is so stacked, and they are favourites in this game, and probably should be favourites now in this tournament. And they've got that confidence within themselves. They got to the final of the Euros in 2016, won the World Cup in 2018. They're a tournament team of some of the best players in the world, and they should go into this game with full confidence. I
think with Morocco, we spoke about them winning the aerial duels, but going into the quarter-final from an England perspective, I felt like Harry Maguire was winning every single header. Like, that was one of it, like, offensively and defensively. And we speak about moments, and it came down to one of those moments with the cross coming in and Giroud winning the header. So that's going to be really interesting because Morocco have been so dominant in the air, but for all that dominance, it could be their downfall in the semi-final.
Well, it'd be typical because Romain Saïss hasn't lost a single aerial duel yet this tournament. Imagine losing one in a tournament and that being the goal that cannot.
Hey, that's why we love it.
You'd be heartbroken. France, on the whole, we've all sort of like backed France a little bit here. If Morocco don't have these injury problems and come in with that more or less fully fit side that they did at the start of the tournament, looking quite unlikely. Romain Saïss, as we mentioned, came off injured. Naif Agard's injured. Ziyech came off on the 83rd minute. Hakimi went down holding both his calves. I think he'll be fine, but they'll be knackered. They come into this going like, we've played a lot of football. France haven't been to extra time yet. Is there a way Morocco navigate their way through this game and find a way to win? My fear is France score first and it's pretty much game over.
That's it. I think if France get the first goal, especially if it's early on, then Morocco will be in trouble. But we've seen it. Like, Regragui has made changes in the previous games to kind of deal with these injuries, and they've managed to get results. It's going to be a huge blow. Saïss being out, he's their captain, he's their leader at back. And that again is probably going to be out as well. And I just don't know. I think if they had their best or their starting lineup, they would have a chance in this game. But it's going to be difficult for them to beat a France team. They're on song right now and in tune, and they're playing well together. So also penny for the thoughts of these club managers. By the way, I see them wrapping up Romain Saïss like fire. I see Aguerd just being stitched up. West Ham paid 30 mil for him in the summer. He's barely played for him. And now they're like wheeling him out for this World Cup. So I think it's just come at the wrong time, this game for them. But fingers crossed they can make a game of it.
I think France weren't great against England, and that's probably one of the bigger positives for them, that they're managing to win, grind out the games. And the biggest thing, like, they've been there and done it. So as much as there'll be so much pressure on them going into the semi-final, not a free hit for Morocco because the World Cup final's on the line, but just to progress as well as they have done. One of the underrated things as well, I think, is about the French midfield, like Tchouaméni and Rabiot. Especially, we've talked a lot about combined 11s. A lot of people were, it was Rice and Bellingham 100%, and I'd have done it. I'd have done exactly the same thing.
I did it.
I'd have done the same thing, but I think last night they really played well, and that's a sort of a battle in an area that maybe France have been a little bit underrated at.
Very quickly then, prediction for how this ends.
I'm going to go 2-0 France, Giroud and Mbappe.
Normal time
in 90 for you there.
Boring.
I'm going to go 2-1 France, unfortunately.
I'm going Morocco on pens.
Here we go.
We're going all the way again.
Yeah.
Come on, Morocco.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.